Hello everyone, I'm back. I hope you're doing good. I am. Uh, Today I was gonna talk about. It's been always in my mind. Like I've always wondered why people like everyone have kids. Like it's like normal that everyone has kids, and I've always questioned that because I feel like sometimes parents give a lot for other people, their their kids, right? Their children. So it's I don't know. I always thought it was funny due to the fact that sometimes they take the decision of giving so much. Like if you decide to have a baby, you make the decision before the baby. It's not like you just grab it. You have to like plan it. I mean, most of the times you plan it. So um, and there's a while before the baby actually is born. So like you make the decision of changing your whole life for someone that is not even born yet, that's someone that is not even real, right? So that's always been in my mind, always. And I've always asked myself questions about this. So I thought it would be interesting to make a video about it because I think I've asked myself some interesting questions, and some interesting conclusions too. um, I try to answer the questions I ask myself. And yeah, so here they go. Okay, so I think this is how like the questions started growing on in my mind, and it was with the fact that I always found kind of odd how the relationship between parents and kids. Uh, when a couple or just some adult decides to have a kid, they get attached to the kid for a long time, usually 20 years. I would say that's average, 20 years maybe. And after 20 years of getting very attached to this person, and personally I think that parents like love their kids a little bit more than kids love their parents, because they just saw him or her growing from zero to like someone. And I think that just makes them love them a little bit more. And it's usually the kid that wants to just go away and start living his life, start growing as a person, being independent. So what I was saying is that after all these years being so responsible for this kid and caring so much, they have to let him go. And I feel like that's sometimes for a lot of parents, my parents and other parents, that's a lot of pain. It's also good because they see their kid become someone and that makes them happy. But every parent, or most of the parents, there's always exceptions, most of the parents will tell you that their kids are the best thing that has happened to them. So it's like you're just not anymore with that thing that is the best thing that has happened to you. So even though you're happy for him or her making his life grow, being independent, you're away from them, from the most important thing to you. And that's always, it's always gonna be like that. There's no one that lives with the, or I know some people, like I said, there's exceptions, but most of the people don't live with their parents, and parents always are wishing that they could spend more time with their kids. And kids too, like sometimes I wish I could spend more time with my parents when I'm in school, but I feel like they suffer more because their life is like they kind of lose their purpose sometimes. And I think it's a fact that for older people, like if you're 50 years old or 60 years old, it's harder to find a purpose than if you're 18 or 20. You have a different perspective in life, and I think it's harder for older people to find a purpose if they don't have one. So on the other hand, I realize like me talking about this is very subjective because I've never been a parent. So, but still, I think there's some logic behind these questions, and I've never been a parent, as I said, and you know, of course, because I'm just 19 years old. Um, at the same time, it might be worth it, you know, like it might be worth it, but the only way to know is actually to have the kid, right? And it might be worth it because you feel so much love and so many years of happiness and also learning because of course parents have to learn a lot by having a child, um, and grow as a person too. For sure they grow. And yeah, so after so many years of love, and it's not like the love ends when the child goes away. It can continue for sure. Like there are people that, like a lot of people, see their parents often. They don't live with them, but they see them often. And maybe parents get tired too. You know, maybe parents want to they have something they want to do after the kids goes away. They want to, I don't know, just start having more time for themselves, and at the end it might not be as bad for them. It might not feel as lonely for them, you know, especially parents that are still together, that are not divorced. I believe for people that are divorced, like a single mom or single dad, when their kid goes away, it's harder because, like my dad, he lives alone. He doesn't live with me. He doesn't live with my mother. And my mom is the same. She doesn't live with my dad. She doesn't live with me or my sister because my sister is also away in another city working. And there's many cases like that too. So I guess anything could happen, right? And that's also a question that it's worth thinking about. I think all the love might be worth it. And also a counter argument for that is that it's worth it because of the love. And we all know love is great. Like no one's gonna tell you love is something awful. I mean, some people will say it, but I personally think love is great. Like families are based on love, friends are made of love, and yourself, like you love yourself. That's why you take care of yourself. So it's obviously something good for us. It's inevitable for us to feel love. And but this also means that we feel like it's worth it because we're like blinded by the love we have for the kid. If we're parents, if I was a parent, I know I would be blinded, and I would say that this kid is the best thing that could happen to me. But it's a judgment based on emotions only. It's not really. I mean, it can't be objective because you will have to live your life without a child, and then live your life with a child. And still you can live a lot of lives without a child and a lot of lives with a child. So it's when people say that they will never regret having a kid, they will never regret having a kid, it's too subjective for me to appreciate, you know. It's like, of course you're gonna say that because you're blinded by love, and even though love is great, sometimes being blinded by emotions, it's not at all. Additionally, you could all that energy, time, just investment as a person that you put to a kid, you could also put in yourself. And you know, the book I mentioned in my previous video, there's a chapter called, one of the rules is of the chapter, one of the rules of the book, because it's called 12 Rules for Life. So one of the chapters, it's called Treat Yourself Like Someone You're Responsible For. And imagine if you could invest all of that time and all of that energy and just all that investment in yourself. And how great could that be, right? Because you're already someone. Most people, I think, they consider themselves useful, smart, somehow, able, capable, educated. Like education is not only going to college, just having a mom and a dad is being educated because they're educated, because they're lived a long life, so they're for sure gonna educate you with a lot of stuff. And yeah, so you're already a grown person, like you're already halfway, right? And so you put all that investment in yourself, it's just gonna like skyrocket your growth, I think. and and I think that's great. I think that could lead you to be something amazing, something that you're not able to imagine right now, because you just can't, because you haven't done it yet. And I think the only way to find out is doing it, as well as the only way to find out if it's worth it to have a kid and allow that suffering when he goes away worth it, is by doing it. That's the only way to know. And there's so many arguments and counter arguments. That's why I like this, because also I read on that same book he and Jordan B. Peterson, he explains, I mean, it's very it's very obvious, we just don't notice it, but the concept of mother, father, and child are exactly 200 million years old, because they were born at the same time that mammals were born. And that's when the concept started to that's when the concept grew and was something real. That's when it became something real, and it's so old among life, because mammals are a big part of life, of living life. And we are already used to this concept, and that's something that it's very characteristic of a lot of alive things in this world, like animals and humans. We're mammals, so there's the concept of mother, father, and child, and maybe we are meant to have children, and we are meant to let them be our purpose, and also divide our investment as person in our child and in ourselves. Maybe that's what we're wired to. Maybe that's our nature. And again, I that really convinced me that maybe that's why people. I mean, that's all. That's the answer where people have children without even asking. Sometimes, it's like they know they're gonna have children. It's not like they sat one day and they say, this and that. No, most people will tell you, yeah, I want to have children. Maybe not today, because things are changing, but before, people will always have children. It was like a law, like getting a job. Everyone gets a job because everyone needs to eat something. So yeah, it's because it's a part of us. It's been in life for so many years that we're used to it, and we just decided it's in nature. Okay, so this is the my favorite argument, and as I said, I'm very subjective because I've never been a parent. So I'm definitely not trying to convince anyone to have or not have kids, but I do think it's a very strong argument, and I embrace it. And it's the fact that you can be a parent without having children, and that's very true, because you can be I love kids. Like, some people don't, like some people my age, I know many people my age that don't like kids. It's maybe because they're young, and my mom told me she didn't like kids neither when she was young, and now she loves them, and she loved me I think. And yeah, so you can be a parent without having your own child. You can be an uncle. I've always thought it would be cool to work with kids, and it's not only because I'm a psychology major. You can work with kids being any major, not any major, but a lot of majors. Like, you don't have to be something specific to work with kids. You can be many things. You can just like kids and be nice to them. Like, most people, I mean, of course, I'm not telling you to go around and shake hands with every kid in the street, but for example, I know this friend, we don't talk anymore, but she was a very good friend, and she told me that she went to for summer. We were friends in college. For a summer, she went to Guatemala, and she worked there for like, I think it was 2 weeks or 2 months. I don't know, but it's still a short period of time. 2 weeks or 2 months is not a long time. I mean, it's different. Those two are different, but like in general, 2 weeks or 2 months is not huge. So she worked there for, it was like community service, and she was with very poor kids that didn't really have a concept of health and hygiene, and she didn't even speak Spanish, so she had to like explain to them. So they didn't even talk like in the same language. They were communicating through signs and maybe some words, but not many. They weren't having conversations. So she stayed there for a while, and she taught them with a group of people some basic stuff about hygiene and how to be more healthy, how to wash their hands. Because apparently, I was surprised too. There's many people that really don't know those things, very poor, and people from like that have came from difficult situations. So yeah, they're trying to just teach the basics to these kids. And she told me that just one summer, I don't know if it was 2 weeks or 2 months again, but let's say that it was 2 months. She got so attached, and 6 months later, she will still think about them very often. And she would think, and she told me she was so happy to be here, to be there, and that she got attached very, very strongly to them, and that she thinks about them all the time, and that's being a parent. Like, she wasn't even old enough to be a parent, like old enough, but she was like 20 years old or 21. But yeah, she was a parent. She felt what a parent feels, in a certain way, not exactly, but she had a purpose. And if she does that in the United States with if she lives in the United States, so if she lived there, if she did that in the United States, she probably could go visit sometimes. And she told me she wanted to, but it was complicated because it was in freaking Guatemala, that it's very far away from the United States. I mean, not that far away, but a different country. And yeah, so that's also a way of being a parent without having your own kids. And you can be that every day if you want to. You don't have to sacrifice so much to feel partially where a parent feels. You can even do that with your I don't know if you have a younger brother, just a younger friend. You can be a parent forever like that, you know? So yeah, I guess that's kind of like the end. You know, many people ask themselves, like me, I know, that if they should or not have children. Probably this just makes them ask more questions to themselves. But yeah, that's how it is. At the end, it's not like there's a red path and a white path. I mean, a red path and a blue path. It's more like a white path, and you're just carrying the paint with you. You know, that's like a good metaphor. And you gotta paint the path by yourself. So that's how it is. And yeah, it was great thinking, I think. So this is the end of the video. Hope you like it. I'll keep bringing some interesting questions and conclusions. So yeah, just keep living.